Good morning. Happy Friday. I just thought I'd bring everybody up to date on what's going on in Earl David Warden's trial in Harris County, Texas, and what's going on with Chauncey Hollinberry's federal criminal trial in the U.S. District Court in Arizona. We'll start off with Earl because I think that's one that most people are concerned about. It is coming up in February. I'm going to say around February 22nd-ish, somewhere around in there. I could be slightly wrong on the dates. Obviously, as it gets closer, I will double check the dates and update you guys again. But I get comments on just about every video on what's going on with Earl's trial. So it's set for February, for late February, if I remember correctly. I believe it will go ahead this time, and that doesn't mean it will. That just means that I think there's a high likelihood that it's going to go ahead this time, and that reasoning is based on the fact that both the prosecution and the defense have already filed their pretrial motions, their motions to suppress or admit evidence. And that means that they both have gone through the evidence. They know the evidence they want and need to get into trial, and the evidence that they want to or need to exclude from trial in order to get the results they're looking for. And so there's nothing really else to do other than go to trial at this point. All the discovery, all the figuring out what's going on has been done. So it's just time to present the evidence to the judge. So I assume it's going to go forward. Interestingly enough, apparently there is some sort of a, rivalry or internet dispute between Earl and James Freeman. I don't know what caused it. I don't know why. Don't really care. But for some reason, Earl was in my Discord server yesterday, LARPing once again as Driven Monkey, who has a new story, by the way. Apparently now she is an ex-cop, an ex-Texas cop, for that matter, and which is inconsistent with previous versions of her background story. But Earl's a prolific liar. That doesn't make him a good liar. A good liar remembers his story, and so he can stick to it. A prolific liar tells too many lies to keep track of, and so you get new versions of stories, and that's not good for Earl. Anyway, so apparently Earl is now accusing James Freeman of being an informant, which is odd because we have documented evidence that Earl is an informant. And specifically, he tried to inform on me. He told on me to the Leon Valley Police, trying to get me in trouble for something that, for basically reporting on Earl. So that's pretty hypocritical to accuse James Freeman. And by the way, the accusation basically boils down to James Freeman didn't get charged for assaulting two police officers that he allegedly assaulted. I didn't see it. I don't really know what is being referred to, but there are a lot of reasons why people don't get charged. Specifically, and usually, the biggest reason is because the DA doesn't think that they can prove beyond a reasonable doubt that the person actually did the crime that they could theoretically be charged with. Because remember, to charge them, you only need probable cause, but to actually prevail, the DA needs to prove beyond a reasonable doubt. So that's one reason. And then another reason is because the DA might just not think it's worth it. Maybe they don't really think it's that big of a deal. For example, there's one Texas auditor guy. I called him a gadfly. I don't remember his real name. I just remember him as the gadfly. He was in Leon Valley. He was trying to follow TV station reporters into the Leon Valley Civic Building, whatever it is, the building that houses the court and the police office, or the police station, and the mayor's office and city manager's office and things like that. That's that one big building. So he was trying to follow, the gadfly was trying to follow reporters in there, and the officer basically cut him off so that he couldn't get in the door, and the gadfly bumped into the back of the officer. Now, is that battery on a police officer? Technically it could be, but as a jury, would you convict on it? I mean, if you really don't like him, I mean, if you personally know him and don't like him, maybe you would. But if you didn't know the guy, you probably wouldn't. And stuff like that tempers what DAs bring or don't bring. So I mean, there are legitimate reasons, potentially legitimate reasons, why the DA would not charge Freeman for assaulting police officers, because I don't see Freeman as particularly aggressive. I mean, he's got a loud mouth that he runs like a chainsaw, but I've never seen him get physical with anybody, and every time things do get physical, he's always back down. So I don't really see that as a thing. But asking why Freeman didn't get arrested is just a question. It's not proof of anything, except he didn't get arrested. But even then, it's still just a question. It's not proof that he didn't get arrested. It's just assumed in the question. So it's anyway. So Earl's being a hypocrite again, as per usual. So that's Earl. Expect to hear more from me in February on it. I'll double check the actual dates, make sure they haven't been changed or moved around, and I'll let everybody know if and when it's going to happen. So that's Earl. Chauncey Hollinberry is a different breed of animal altogether. Like I said, he is in federal court. I'm even less familiar with criminal processes in federal court than I am in state courts, because at least I have been involved in criminal cases in state courts. I've never been involved in a federal criminal trial, so don't really have a lot of idea of what goes on in there. But I do know that Chauncey has been filing lots and lots of motions to continue. He's filed several since July. He's filed 2, I think, since July. Currently, the trial is set for mid-April of 2022, but due to Chauncey's penchant for filing motions to continue, I would expect him to continue that process. He does have an attorney still, from what I have read in the record. At least I assume he has an attorney. It does appear that he has an attorney. I don't know why he's filing things, but he is, so I'm sure his attorney is just absolutely loving that. There were 3 notices, and a notice is just saying, hey, I want to bring this to your attention, whatever it is. It's kind of like a declaration, just with a different title, really. And usually it's used for take notice of this legal thing that's going to happen, but I don't know exactly what Chauncey was intending to do with it, because the court struck 3 of them. And those 3 were, if I remember correctly, the government isn't feeding me, the government is torturing me, and I have renounced my U.S. citizenship. So that's an interesting legal defense that apparently he's going to try to mount. I don't think it's going to be effective. If you commit a crime within the territorial jurisdiction of a state and you get caught and that state gets their hands on you, then they can try you for that crime. Likewise, if you commit a crime within the territorial jurisdiction of the United States and the United States gets their hands on you, well, then the United States can try you for that crime. It doesn't matter what your citizenship status is. Technically, it could matter, I guess, if you have diplomatic immunity. Diplomatic immunity! Bonus points if you know what movie that's from. Anyway, so, but your citizenship doesn't really matter. It certainly won't prevent the government from continuing to prosecute their case against Chauncey. Then he filed a few other notices, and I have not read any of them. I might download them and read them tonight, because one of them seems kind of interesting. It appears that he is questioning the judge's concern about the case, questioning whether or not the judge is actually paying attention in the case. So another terrible legal strategy is to insult the judge in your case, because the judge, believe this or not, makes a lot of decisions about what happens or won't happen in your case. And the judge is very influential on a lot of things, like jury instructions. You have limited control over what the jury does, but you want to make sure the jury gets your jury instructions and not the prosecution's jury instructions, and the judge determines which jury instructions go to the jury. So, little things like that. You don't generally want to piss off the judge in your case. Now, an experienced trial attorney might know which judge to piss off in which situation and what benefit it'll have. Usually it comes from appearing in front of that judge multiple times and understanding the judge and understanding what gets the judge going and what will prompt the judge to make a decision in your favor. But it's not a trial strategy that I would recommend to anyone under any circumstances. I mean, it could work out. Lots of things that I wouldn't recommend you do can work out. Like, I don't recommend you testifying at trial, especially not if you're a 18-year-old kid who, isn't battle hardened and tested in the ways of the world. But, it worked out for Kyle. I mean, it was an unnecessary risk, I still maintain, but, it didn't torpedo his defense. So, things that I don't recommend can still work out, but, it might work out for Chauncey might be found not guilty despite having insulted the judge, but it's just not recommended. So anyway, that's your updates. Expect, I'm not guaranteeing, but expect Earl to go to trial in February, and don't hold your breath on Chauncey going to trial in April. So thanks for watching. Have a great day.